Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sharon, and today we'll discuss a story from afar, which took place in Australia. It was May 3rd, 2023 when Nermeen Noufl returned home after spending a pleasant evening with a friend. From that moment on, he vanished without a trace. No one could have imagined what truly lay behind his disappearance, nor that the truth would be so macabre. Nermeen Noufl is a 54-year-old woman of Australian origin. She has a history marked by abuse and violence. When she was still a child, her parents separated, and she and her siblings went to live in Syria with their mother, where they were subjected to beatings and forced into servitude. Mrs. Noufl was stripped, beaten with an electric cord, and compelled to prepare coffee as if she were a slave. Her life and that of her siblings could be likened to that of prisoners. After years of abuse, she escaped that reality and returned to Sydney, Australia, to live with her father. Upon arrival, her sister described her as a Holocaust survivor, extremely fragile, with blackened teeth, and emaciated. Even months later, Mrs. Noufl struggled to eat and speak. She would retreat to her room and spend most of her time in bed. At around 18 years of age, her father arranged her marriage to Mr. Nermeen Noufl. The man was attempting to emigrate to Australia, and through the marriage, he would obtain a visa that had previously been repeatedly denied. In exchange, Nermeen's family would receive money. She met her husband only on the day of the wedding ceremony. Thus, we're talking about two individuals belonging to the Sunni Muslim community, and their marriage, as often happens in such contexts, was not born out of free choice but from a family decision. It's not uncommon for families to arrange unions deemed appropriate from a social, economic, or religious standpoint. In these scenarios, love is not anticipated. In the Islamic world, marriage is a contract, an agreement between two families rather than two individuals. Religious law permits a man to have multiple wives and grants him authority over his wife, which often translates into control over outings, appearance, speech, and behavior. In many cases, the woman finds herself obeying out of duty, upbringing, and fear. We don't know much about the early years of this marriage, but we can imagine that the foundations were already fragile. After all, we're talking about two people united by social expectations and not by a genuine emotional bond. We know that they had 8 children and that at home, he had the final say. Nermeen treated Nermeen like a slave, subjecting her to physical and psychological abuse. For instance, she couldn't even wear a t-shirt in the garden, as otherwise, she would suffer severe beatings from her husband. In 2008, and again in 2009, the first reports were made to the police. It was the wife who contacted the authorities. It seems that in 2009, the two argued over the woman's request for a divorce. The man, unwilling to accept the request, brandished a knife and told his wife that he would rather see her dead than grant her a divorce. Despite these complaints, nothing was done. Everything was filed away, ignored, or never investigated. She remained in that house with a man who only exercised power over her. She felt alone, humiliated, invisible, until one day, Nermeen confessed to having another woman. Not just any clandestine relationship, but a genuine second partner in Egypt. Some sources say he told her openly. Others claim she discovered it herself. But perhaps, in the end, it makes no difference. For her, it was yet another confirmation of her worthlessness, of being chosen but never desired. Months passed, and the man sent money to his partner in Egypt in the meantime, to start a new life together there in the future. His relationship with Nermeen, however, became increasingly distant. In April 2023, Mr. Nermeen sold one of his properties in Condell Park for $1.69 million, about €940,000, and on May 3, 2023, He went to the consulate with his wife to sign a power of attorney. The man left Nermeen some of his overseas properties. That same day, Nermeen Noufl spent the evening with a friend in Burwood, taking a simple walk. A quiet meeting, nothing special. Shortly after 9 p.m., he was last seen returning home. From that moment on, he disappeared without a trace. In the following days, no one questioned his whereabouts. The man had plans to travel abroad for work. But time passed and messages and social media posts became increasingly sporadic. The man was very close to his family and friends. He would call every day he was present. But now, all that remained were those messages sent occasionally. His loved ones thought this was due to his various travels outside Australia. After a few weeks, the man also wrote to the woman with whom he had started a relationship in Egypt, asking her to return the money he had lent her.
Peace be upon you. I urgently need money. The money you owe me, please transfer 550,000 Egyptian pounds to me.
Peace be upon you. Please, before transferring the money, I need you to call me so I can be sure it's you asking for it, and I assure you that I am holding it in trust, and you will certainly receive it, but I think I have the right to be certain. If you can't call me, you can send me a voice recording requesting it. Thank you anyway.
You have no shame. You know this money belongs to my wife Nermeen.
After further message exchanges, the woman sent the receipt proving the transfer to his account. After that, the man no longer responded to her. Meanwhile, Mrs. Noufl had traveled to Egypt that same month and returned to Australia in July with $200,000, about 175,000 euros, in her possession, believed to have come from the sale of one of the Egyptian properties Mr. Noufl had left her. Months passed, still no phone calls. No voice. Only written texts, brief, impersonal. No one wanted to think the worst, but 2 months after that May 3rd, the day the man seemed to disappear from everyone's sight, on July 1st, 2023, the missing person report was officially filed. Australian authorities opened the case as a simple disappearance. Public appeals and flyers were distributed, but Nermeen seemed to have vanished into thin air. At this point, investigators decided to delve deeper into the matter. The first thing they did was check airport records and the passport. If Nermeen claimed to have left, surely he would have taken a flight, right? But no. His passport had not been used since that fateful May 3rd, 2023. No tickets purchased. No flights taken. No documented movements outside Australia. They then checked his bank accounts. And again, nothing. No transactions abroad. No withdrawals, no purchases in another country. Finally, they examined the phone. They analyzed cell towers, movements, messages. And they realized that something had changed in his way of communicating, as if the person writing was no longer him. All these clues led investigators to only one possible conclusion. Nermeen Noufl had not disappeared. Thus, in January 2024, the case was officially reclassified from disappearance to murder. The homicide unit searched the house the man shared with his wife, and from there, the horror emerged. Evidence indicated that Mr. Noufl may have been attacked by his wife that evening of May 3rd, 2023, between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. on May 4th of the same year. The woman allegedly covered the floor with plastic sheets and then attacked her husband with several knives, weapons later used to dismember his body, also with the help of an electric saw. The woman then placed parts of his body in about 20 to 30 bags and disposed of them, presumably, in rubbish bins in various areas in the southwest of Sydney. This prevented his remains from being found. Afterwards, the woman cleaned the crime scene using chemicals and bleach. In the following days, she tore up the flooring of the kitchen, living room, and dining room, replaced it, and then got rid of 2 leather sofas. Mrs. Noufl took possession of her husband's mobile phone to make friends and family believe he was still alive, even requesting the money from his partner herself. Thus, with all this evidence against her, the woman was arrested in October 2024 while at Bankstown Hospital, a care facility, for the treatment of depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. During the interrogation, Mrs. Noufl remained obstinately silent. She avoided providing details about what happened on the evening of May 3, 2023, merely repeating that she did not clearly remember the events. Investigators noted that despite her apparent confusion, the woman showed signs of awareness regarding the legal implications of her statements. Her lawyers requested her release on bail, highlighting her mental disorders and the fact that the trial would not take place before 2026. Before concluding this account, I would like to leave a small space to delve into an aspect too often overlooked: domestic violence and the invisible wounds it leaves behind. Domestic violence is not just a private matter. It is a social, cultural, psychological phenomenon. It doesn't stop at beatings. It can consist of words, silences, threats, control. And its effects don't disappear when it ends. People who suffer from it can develop serious disorders such as depression, anxiety, or post-traumatic stress disorder. It's as if a part of them remains imprisoned, even after physically escaping that house. In Italy, over the years, several laws have been introduced to combat domestic violence. For example, Law 154, which provides for the removal of the violent partner, Law 119, which strengthens tools against stalking and mistreatment, the Red Code, which accelerates procedures in cases of domestic violence, and last but not least, the activation of anti-violence centers and the toll-free number 1522, active 24 hours a day for assistance and support to victims. On paper, it seems that there is all the goodwill to counter the rise in violence, but in everyday reality, too often victims are not believed. Too often protection comes too late. Too often the laws exist but are not applied in time. A profound cultural change is needed. Law enforcement, magistrates, doctors, teachers need to be trained. It is important that society as a whole stops blaming victims and starts questioning the mechanisms that generate violence. It's not just about punishing those who do harm. It's about saving those who have suffered. Here I ask you, how many lives could we save if we started taking care of invisible wounds before they become irreversible tragedies? Once again, thank you for watching this video. Let's see y'all next Sunday.